podcast mainly about knitting, sometimes crocheting, but always about all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Friday, September 22nd, and I'm so glad to be joining you for another podcast talking about all of the things that I've been up to. I have a lot of knitting today to share with you. So thank you so much for stopping by or for returning to check out what I've been up to with all of the yarny things. Other places you can find me besides this channel, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cbcraftygirl. And for this podcast, we do have, I would say, a very active Ravelry group for Carla Knits, and we currently have 2 make-alongs, year-long make-alongs going on. So I always like to highlight those at the beginning of the episode, and I share what friends have been making in those groups. So I've got some beautiful things to share with you today. So the first make-along that's going on is the Love Your Stash make-along. So you've heard me talk about this many times if you're returning, but using your stash for the year of 2023. And all of these things will be linked in the show notes down below if you'd like to join in. You can always go to the first page in that thread on Ravelry just to see, further details on it. But for the Love Your Stash make-along, I have 3 beautiful items that I would like to highlight today. So the first is a sweater. This is by Ravelry user Hevertson, and that's Heather. And she did this sweater. This was a test knit for Flossy Knits, and I think it's really lovely and very interesting, and a beautiful fall color. So I really like that. Then we have a scrap yarn blanket, which I think is crochet. I would have to go back and double check, but I think it's crochet, and that's by Dorothy CR. I just love all of the colors that you used, Dorothy, in that basket. And then M's Little Nest, Emma, finished this beautiful shawl. I think it's absolutely exquisite. It is the Rainforest Canopy shawl. So absolutely beautiful. So if you are making things using stash, please feel free to join on in. I pick quarterly winners. So after this month, I will be doing a drawing with my first podcast in October, so you could have the chance to win a pattern prize. The other make-along we have is the blanket along, and it's a general thread for chatter and for finished objects. If you have a finished blanket, then please post it twice for the extra entry. So 2 that I want to highlight today. The first is by Ravelry user Jasmine Davalel. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, Jasmine, but she made the connected blanket, which I think is really neat. And just very, scrappy, fun, colorful. I love scrappy blankets. I need to be working on mine, but a lovely, lovely scrappy blanket. And then Yarn It Heidi made this picket fence blanket, and I love how she styled it also with the elephant that she made. But the blanket itself looks like a great baby blanket, knit or crochet. I think it's a crochet pattern. So some lovely blankets today in that thread. So great job, all of you who are busy knitting and crocheting away, working through your stash. One more thing to talk about briefly at the top of this episode, the 12 Skeins of Christmas mini skein swap. I have closed that now, and I have partnered the people that are participating. So if you haven't been on Ravelry recently, please do check your Ravelry messages, because there you will find your partner and information. So hopefully everybody has gotten their partner or will be getting their partner soon, and you'll begin winding those mini skeins, talking with your partner about what you might like to exchange in addition to those mini skeins. And one more thing I just want to say, if for any reason you are signed up for the swap and you have trouble fulfilling your commitment, you know, things come up in life, you know, we have, different circumstances come up. So if you cannot fulfill your commitment, please just let me know so that I can help out with helping your partner. I'm just saying that. And if for some reason you don't hear from a partner for a while, please communicate that back to me too, just so I can help facilitate this fun mini skein swap along. All right, let's get into the knitting. I have, it's not a new object, but I will talk about what I am wearing. I knit this last year in the fall. This is the Sonatina. No, I say Sonatina because I'm a piano player. But Sonatine, I think, is part of that too. Sonatine cowl by D. O'Keefe. This is a DK cowl. I knit it in Lazy Bee yarn. That is a Nebraska yarn dyer. And I don't know if I said that, but I do live in Nebraska. And so the speckled color is Garden Party, and this solid color is Tiger Lily. And I just think this is such a fun fall accessory. So I decided to pull it out today. All right, getting into finished objects. I have a couple today. My first finished object is the Trail Dance hat by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits Designs. And this is a hat. This was the second hat that I started for our informal Labor Day hat knit along, and I completed it this week. The yarn that I used, this was a DK weight yarn. Let's see, Lavender Lune in the Romantic colorway. I was drawn to this colorway. Well, it's a Minnesota dyer, Lavender Lune. She is a Minnesota dyer, and it just reminded me of sand, lake, woods, hiking, which I thought hiking on trails. But I think I probably should have stuck with a more tonal yarn so you could see the beautiful cables, although hopefully you can see them. But the interesting thing about this is you have this rib down at the bottom, and when you flip it up and wear it double brimmed, you have a cable, the cable detail. So this was a really fun cable pattern. Let's see, I will try it on. Let's see. My mirror is over here that I'm looking in. Okay, so there is the hat. And hopefully you can see those beautiful cables in there. I really like how this feels. Very comfortable hat. Little bit of slouch, or I can pull it down a little bit more if I don't want really any slouch. I think it would look really cute with either a white or a light blue pom-pom to kind of echo some of the blues in that yarn. But I'm really happy with how this hat turned out. I don't know that it's my color. I think it probably would go better maybe with someone with darker hair. I'm not sure. We will see. But speaking of Darcy and Chit Chat Knits, I've shared before that Darcy has a her own podcast that she started this year. I think it was this year. That she started this year, and she also has a Ravelry group, and she is going to be doing a hat knit along in her group starting on October 1st. So, and it's knitting any kind of hat or ear warmer, you know, headband, anything that can keep your ears warm. And of course you can use her patterns, but it's open to anything. So as we're thinking ahead towards those colder months, and if you're making hats or anything, hop on over to her group and enter that hat knit along. So great hat pattern. I always love Darcy's patterns. Just check the hair. Probably crazy as always, but that's okay. All right. All right. So trail dance hat. I think that was all I wanted to say about that. Yeah, really enjoyable cable hat. So I made 2 cable hats for the Labor Day hat knit along. So I think that, you know, I was itching for cables, and I think those 2 hats scratched that itch. So really happy with that. All right, the second finished object is a dishcloth. So let's see, end's not woven in yet. That's okay. Keeping it real here. So this is the pattern Classic Easy Knit Dishcloth by Caroselle Design. That's Carolyn Stanton. It's a free pattern on Love Crafts. You know, if you've been here for at least a couple weeks, I've been talking about dishcloths and wanting to find patterns where the ends weren't, or where it was more square. So where it was more square. And I do think this one is as close as I'm going to get to the perfect square. So the yarn that I'm using is by, let's see, Joanne. It's a yarn that you can purchase at Joann's, and it's K&C, so it's knit and crochet essential cotton. It is a wonderful feeling cotton. I mean, you can kind of see the drape of that. That is just beautiful. This particular colorway is called Joshua Tree. Yeah, so I think that's all I want to say about that. I have another one that I will be sharing in WIPs. Yeah. One that's a work in progress, but that is one finished one for this time. All right. So if you are looking for the perfect dishcloth pattern and you're a little anal like me about perfect square corners, then or you know, a good square shape, then please check out that pattern. I did want to say something. There is a crochet dishcloth that I have made crochet. It is the diagonal dishcloth. I love crocheting that one. I absolutely love crocheting that one. But I have used it and I love washing dishes with it. But the shape turns into like this complete diamond. I mean, it is a diamond. So when it comes out of, you know, wash and dry it, I fold it in half like a triangle, like a diamond. It doesn't really go into a square anymore. So it is quite funny, but of course it washes the dishes just great. And that's for you, Lois. All right, I do have one half object, and that is a sock. I did not even bring in my sock blocker today, and I still have the little stitch markers in here. And you might be wondering, why am I using stitch markers when it's self-striping? Just because, so I can count my rows and get as close to matching on the second one. But this is a sock that I am knitting for a family member for her upcoming birthday in October. The yarn is by Tall Pine Yarn. I don't know if it had a colorway, but it's one of her self-striping, and she has a shop on Etsy, and she has lots of self-striping colorways. Her yarn is really nice to work with. This sock seemed to knit up very fast. It is a smaller size foot, but the yarn was a little easier than the yarn I was using, that pair of socks that I showed last time. Oh, the Pix Wisdom yarn. That was a more sturdy, I would say maybe sturdy, more workhouse type yarn, kind of like Regia or Opal. But, you know, this is a merino nylon, so there's a lot of softness to that. So I think it was just a little easier on my hands for knitting. But that is the sock, and I did just the traditional heel flap and gusset. So I don't even think I had started this last time. So that's new to see. This particular family member is a big Ohio State fan, Ohio State football. And so she asked this summer maybe for a pair of, or she asked for a pair of socks, if I could do socks that might be with Ohio State colors. So I think that kind of fits the bill there. So that is one sock, which brings us into works in progress, whips. So I do not have very much on sock number 2. So I have the cuff and just a little bit of that red, just a little bit of that red. So I need to get cracking on those, because September is blowing by. It's breezing by us. Can't believe it's already the 22nd. So hopefully I will get a lot of time on this this upcoming weekend. That would be great. And I take this along with me when I teach, different little breaks, lunch break. If a student doesn't show up, then I have this just to put a few rows on, If I'm in the car and Jeff's driving, I'll do the same. So, and take it to knit groups. So it should get some attention over this weekend and the next week. My second work in progress that I'll share goes back to dishcloth knitting. So same pattern and same yarn. Oh, look at this. I'm in the middle of a row. Is that not terrible? Well, I'm just going to sit here and finish this row a minute. So this is the same pattern design, the classic easy knit dishcloth. I threw this in my bag this morning when I went to the church school down the road to teach piano, and I had a little time in there while a student was out doing something. So I just was working on this, and that's why I stopped in the middle the middle of a row, and I'm actually on the decreases right now. This is the same skein of yarn, and once I finish this row, I will show you just, the difference between the two dishcloths. Sorry about this, guys. Almost there. 2, 4, 5. Got to do my decreases now. Almost there. Slip, slip, knit, and knit 3 on the end. All right. So again, this is from that same skein of yarn, Joshua Tree. So you can see how that orange was continued along. So this is where I ended with the first dishcloth, picked up here, but now you're getting into some blues, and looks like blues for a while, and then it's gonna transition back to green, and then those golds again. And I bet down in there, I don't know if I see any more orange, but blues and greens in there, and maybe I'll hit the gold for the other end. I am knitting these dishcloths. I have a shower that I will be at least providing a gift for, and I just wanted a small little gift. So I am hand knitting 2 dishcloths. I really wish I could get a third out of here. I don't think I'm going to. I will have to weigh one of my dishcloths and then see what I have on the end. But maybe I can combine another color that would be close enough to do a set of 3 rather than 2. But yeah. So I thought I would do, the dishcloths and then maybe a gift card or something. So, all right. And that's for October also. So I'm really close. I'm really enjoying the knit dishcloth. Just knit a row here or there. that is my knitting project when I sit with our cat Reese's in the evening. So I've talked about that before. She has this routine where after dinner time, I get the dishes done. I have to go downstairs. Otherwise she sits in the living room and she just, we say barks because meow, meow at me until I go downstairs and I sit in the green chair downstairs where her food dish is, and then she eats a little bit of food and then she'll come up and sit with me for a while. So that's the project that I have been knitting a few rows on every now and then. All right, going on to some more works in progress. I did get some progress made on my harvest sock. So last time it was just a heel flap hanging there. So I have knit through the decreases and now I'm working down the foot of the sock. This I started as a birthday cast on back in July. Of course I had to have pink because I love the color pink. It definitely is my most favorite color. And this yarn was so sweetly gifted to me by my knitting birthday buddy Candy. So thank you, Candy. This yarn is by Knit Picks. This is the Stroll hand painted in the Summer Blooms tonal. And then I had this here, which I think goes really well. Maybe you can see on this side, there are some pink specks in there, but this is Hawthorne fingering in graffiti speckle. So I thought that was just kind of a fun contrast. This pattern is part of a 3 sock pattern sweater collection, sock collection called Sweater Weather Sock Collection Cuff Down by Carly Perrins. And she has several different collections of either cuff down or toe up. So I think she is you know, very accessible for any sock knitter, whichever way you like to knit those socks. This has a really fun twisted pattern, so twisted stitches, which creates that cable in there, and I just think that is super pretty. So I am enjoying this. I just worked on it for a couple of days because I have those gift socks that I really need to concentrate on, but boy, do I love this sock. And of course it looks kind of skinny there, but it does fit. It does fit. It does stretch pretty good there. So hopefully I'll get a few more inches work on that. And that's still just the first sock, but maybe by the end of the year it'll be done, or it might be a whip that goes into 2024. We will see. Let's see. A new work in progress that you haven't seen. This is a new cast on, which does not look like much, and it is it was just started yesterday. I am holding 2 strands of fingering weight and a mohair together. So this is the top of the sweater. I am making a second love note. I'm gonna just pull out the yarns. Oh, I was thinking they were behind me. They're right here. The 2 yarns that I am using. This is the Conifer Collective in the colorway Desert Cardinal. I'm just gonna take that off. Isn't that pretty? And I had shown this on the show earlier this year as a possible love note, and I'm just feeling like this would be a great fall color. And this beautiful deep purple is called it's by Up North Yarns. It's called Midnight at the Oasis, which I'm not sure what that is a reference to, but I just think it is so beautiful, and paired together it is going to be gorgeous. I think we can't really see too much yet, but it is there. It is there. So did I have any business casting on a new project? Probably not, but I really wanted to. I have several gift knitting commitments still, but I really wanted to start on a fall / winter sweater. Yeah, I think this is going to be late fall, late fall, early winter, or late fall winter sweater with that mohair in there. But I just think that is going to be so pretty. So I definitely hope to get some more work on that. So the Love Note, which probably most of you are familiar with, is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. I made one earlier this year, which is kind of a pinky, peachy, blushy color. Really like that. That one I knit on a smaller needle size than recommended, and I made a smaller size than I normally would do. But you guys seem to think it looked great and everything, and that's good. And I will wear it once it gets, colder outside. I will wear it over a dress. But with this one, I just want to see if I can get a little different fit. So I went up a needle size and a size in the pattern. So we will see how that turns out. I know the last Love Note went really fast. I think I knit it in 3 or just a little over 3 weeks. I think this one is going to take longer just because of other things that I'm working on, but that's okay. I don't have a big need at this moment for that mohair sweater, but it's something that I definitely want to make. I haven't completely decided this, but I think I'm going to do this one plain without the lace. What do you think? I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I'd like to try one without that lace. So that is the plan there. Then my final work in progress is where I put the most work these past couple of weeks since I talked to you. And this is my Carla's Garden Shawl, which was a pattern that Sweet Darcy designed for me when I had a 3 skein yarn kit. And she said, "Ooh, I'd really like to design a shawl for you to use those." And here it is. So it's called Carla's Garden Shawl. And let's see if I hold it up here. Can you see where that marker is? So I have made many inches worth of work. And this is not necessarily a quick project. There is a lot of texture in this shawl. And those flower sections take a little bit more work, or a little extra time, I should say. But I am really getting close to the end. So I am just starting this next striped section at the bottom. You can see where that bluish color is. So I have one more striped section, and then it's 2 flower sections, and then the bind off, I believe. So it's still a lot of knitting because I think we are close to 400, or we might be over 400 stitches now, which, when I say that and I hear about people knitting Stephen West shawls, 400 is a drop in the hat, right? But it's a lot of knitting for me. I really feel like it is a lot of knitting. So, but I really would like, my goal is to have this, I really wanted it done by this episode, truthfully. But realistically, I wanted to work on other projects too. If I hadn't knit on the sock, I made a whole sock, 1 sock, I finished a hat. If I hadn't done those things, maybe I would have finished this. But yeah, I like to have the variety. So I'm very much hoping that by the next episode, this will be a finished object. The yarn that I am using is by Skein Cocaine. This was a 3 skein beach shawl vibe, I guess, beach theme kit, not necessarily designed for any specific shawl. The 3 colors were, let's see, Coastline, Seashells, and Starfish. So I think they are lovely. I actually got the shawl kit in a D-stash on Etsy. So, but yeah, I don't think they are dyeing this specific shawl kit any longer. but I really, really enjoy it, or I really like the color combination. I think it's really beautiful. This definitely reminds me of the water. Yeah, I just think this is a lovely combination. So I'm really excited to be so close to having this done. Jeff sat down on the couch next to me this week while I was knitting on it, and he started looking at this section, you know, these in here. He's like, those look a lot like flowers. And I said, they are. I said, this is supposed to be like flowers in a garden. So he's like, I'm pretty good that I figured that out. So I said, yes, you are. So he said, you know, he doesn't, I mean, I knit so many different things that he doesn't necessarily keep track of them, but he says, that is a really beautiful shawl. All of the beautiful textures in there. And I couldn't agree more. So again, Carla's Garden Shawl by Darcy of Chit Chat Knits. Thank you again, Darcy, for such a lovely, lovely pattern. And I can't wait to have this as a finished object. I've already purchased a shawl pin to wear with it. So hopefully on the next episode, I will be sharing that as a finished object. So those are all of the things that I have been working on over the last couple of weeks. I'm getting a little warm in this. I think I'm going to take this off. It's still close to 80, so I'm going to take that off, but it sure feels fallish. I mean, it just makes me think of fall. I just love that. So, knitting plans for the next couple of weeks. Once my shawl is done, I am going to I plan to pick up that Bee-Tangled shawlette. That's that kind of mustardy green shawlette that I am working on. So that did not get any attention this past couple of weeks, just because I'm putting most of my focus into the shawl. So I hope to pick that back up when the shawl is done. I'd like to continue with the love note. I have to finish that Ohio State sock, finish the dishcloth, which not worried about that. And then I will be casting on a pair of socks for my sister-in-law, Patty. She was part of the family that I was with this summer in Minnesota. Keith and Patty, that's Jeff's brother and sister-in-law, and they live in Canada. So we don't see them very often, but we were together this summer, which was wonderful. And Keith said, I bet Patty would really enjoy a pair of socks that you knit. So I looked at her shoe size, and somehow she must have overheard us. I didn't think she was there listening, but she may have been upstairs in the loft, so that's okay. But I texted Keith this week, and I said, well, I'm going to be ready pretty soon to cast on a pair of socks for Patty. What color do you think she'd like? And he wrote back and he said, well, any color, but she overheard us talking this summer, and I don't think the size that you wrote down is the right size. So he said, any color sock. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to text Patty outright because she probably knows that she's going to get socks. So I texted Patty and I said, hey, what's your shoe size and what's your favorite color? And you probably know what you're getting for Christmas. And she says, I do. I love that I'm going to get that. But she said something very neutral or basic. So if I had been left to my own devices, I would not have picked something neutral. I definitely would have picked something with color, just because that's what, I don't know, that's kind of what I would have done. But, you know, she said neutral, cream, beige, gray. So I found this in my stash, and I'm going to do this. So I think that fits the bill. It's kind of all of those colors in one. It's a very light beige, light gray in there. This is Patton's Croy Socks. It is in the color is Seashell Colors, which I think is really pretty. So I probably, because it looks like there's enough interest going on, I had thought if I had picked, you know, a very plain neutral, that I probably would do some kind of light patterning on it, but I'm not sure that I need to. I think I'm just going to do a pair of basic socks for my sister-in-law, Patty. So that needs to get on the needles soon so that I yep, can get some work on that. So I think that is it for knitting for the next couple of weeks, or next couple of weeks into October, what I'm going to be doing. So just, excuse me, just a little bit of chatter. I have the last 2 weeks, well, last week, from when I'm recording this, last week, I hosted a Zoom knitting meetup for, anybody that wants to join. So I posted something in the Ravelry group. I texted, or I messaged a few people on Instagram, sent an email to a couple of people. So if that is something that you're interested in, please let me know. You can message me on Instagram or Ravelry, or just check the Ravelry group thread to see if we're having a Zoom knitting group. So the time is not ideal for everybody, but the time that works for me is Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock Central Time. So the first week we did meet. I had some technical difficulties on my end, but finally got it working. Then yesterday I was all set to go. I came downstairs to the computer about 10 minutes before, and it says no internet connection. And I was fiddling with a bunch of different things, and I just could not get it to go. So I had to message people on my phone. We're not gonna, we can't meet because of, internet connection or Wi-Fi connection issues. So that was supposed to be at 1 o'clock. It came back on like at 1:34. So it wouldn't have worked for a while. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I do plan on doing this on Thursday again this coming week, to the best of my ability. So if you would like to try to join us, that would be great. We just meet for a short 40 minutes, just to briefly touch base, say hi, maybe meet a new friend, share what you're working on. It really is a nice way just to have a little break in your day with some knitting friends. So stay tuned for, information on that in the Ravelry group, or you sure can message me. So yesterday was quite a day. I woke up with a little bit of a stomach bug, which I'm not going to get into. Then in the afternoon, the Zoom thing did not work. So I thought, okay, well, I don't have Zoom at this time because it's not working. So I'm going to wind some yarn for the love note. So I stick the yarn on the winder. I'm going along, and all of a sudden the ball flies off of the winder, and I have to wind the rest by hand. So it took longer than it should have. Then when I went to cast on the sweater, it is a crochet provisional cast on, and you are supposed to cast on with the larger needle size. And I did the crochet cast on onto the smaller needle size. So I had to redo that, which in the grand scheme of things is not a big deal, but it was like the fourth thing that kind of made yesterday not such a great day. So Thursday was not a great day this week, but today is better. I am feeling better. I went to teach piano this morning, and I have one more student this afternoon. So I wanted to fit podcasting in the middle. So hopefully it can be uploading and everything, or if I can get it edited and then uploaded. So hopefully it can come out today or tomorrow. Other than that, just really busy with work at the college and at the school down the street. Yeah, the days just seem to fly by. We've gone to the boat a couple of times. I think we're going to go tonight. We had a little bit of rain overnight, and it's very overcast and cloudy, but no rain in the forecast tonight, and the wind seems to be at a really good speed tonight. So I think we're going to have some good sailing as our season is winding down. So with that, I hope that you are all doing well. Would really appreciate it if you'd give a thumbs up to this episode, and please subscribe if you haven't. It just gets the episode out and this podcast channel out to other like-minded people. I know there's a lot of knitting podcasts out there, but I appreciate each and every one of you who stops by and follows along, who's followed me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you very much. With that, I'd love to hear if you have some fall knitting plans, upcoming fall knitting plans. That seems to be the big thing on YouTube. So what are your fall knitting plans? Do you have lots of works in progress that you are already finishing, or do you have a bunch of works in progress that are getting set aside and you're just going to cast on with abandon all the fall things? Let me know. I'd love to hear. So with that, hope you're all doing well, and I will visit with you again in a few weeks. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.